We are not saying we are not going to do it. The time that we are wasting talking about this. There's times that the first motion, get it
very well.
And we will all run it.
Very well. Honorable Chairman of the Committee, I think, we don't need Chairman of the Committee, waste time on this. We are going to limit ourselves by way of the contributions. So just limit ourselves by way of the contributions. Do individual motions. Once you do that, there's a seconder motion. Then probably we'll limit ourselves to one or two contributions. Then we put the question on. And we move on. So then we put the question on.
I want to support what you're saying. So apart from the person moving the motion and the second, so one person from each side, then we move to the next motion.
I'll do that, but depends on the interest. If I see that the interest is also high, I may extend it to 2-2. It's also high.
I have no objection to that. I have no objection to that.
Very well. So, Honorable Veggie, you may move. Which motion are you moving now? Honorable Veggie.
Mr. Speaker, I'm moving motion number 19 and 20. These two motions have only one report to cover them.
Very well.
So, Mr. Speaker, I move
Very well.
motion number 19 and 20 on page 6 of today's order paper. And I present the committee's report. And I present, Mr. Speaker, this motion is on the foreign exchange. This motion is on the statement of foreign exchange receipts and payment of the Bank of Ghana for the half year ended 30th June 2022 and 30th for the second half year ended 31st December 2022. For the second half year ended 31st December 2022. The committee referred to a number of documents.
My name is Boina. I'm a beauty mogul in the Caribbean region of Africa. My name is Grace Frank.
Unaendaje kutafuta baba na lips zimekra? Sijakuja kufresha mtu. Sijakuja kukiss ass.
For the year 2022, total foreign exchange receipts amounted to $10,754.44 million. And the total foreign exchange payments amounted to $13,959.71 million, giving a net position. And the total foreign exchange $3 billion payments, $205 million amounted to $13 billion. So, Speaker, $959.71 million, giving a net position which is negative of $3,205 million. As a result of the reduction in foreign exchange receipts, so Speaker, coupled with the increase in this capital payment, Bank of Ghana, the committee position that as a result of the reduction in foreign exchange receipts, coupled with the increase in capital payment, Bank of Ghana net position had reduced from $4.9 billion in 2021 to $3.2 billion in 2022. This situation will further weaken the overall effects of this situation to be a weaker foreign exchange reserve position when it comes to the country. This situation will further weaken the Ghanaian cedi. That is, it's a progress payment to contractors. When it comes to contractors amounting to undertaking various projects in the country in 2022, that is progress payment to contractors. 17 payment made to contractors amounting to undertaking various projects in the country in 2022 amounted to $117.15 million. As compared to $32.2 million under review in 2020, payment of $11.9 million, an increase of $84.9 million. Among the payment for the year under review is payment of $11.9 million irrigation project to MS the Committee Power China International Group has been done limited by the contractor as final payment for the construction of the Mologo irrigation project. The contractor at the project site after receiving the money paid to him. The committee is therefore recommending to the Bank of Ghana to recover the $11.9 million from the contractor. That, Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General, in his opinion of the Bank of Ghana, on the statement of foreign exchange receipts and payment of Bank of Ghana, June 2022, that and the full year fairly presents the foreign exchange position of the Bank of Ghana for the half year ended 30th June 2022 to the House, and the full year ended 31st December of the Public Account 2022. Conclusion, Mr. Speaker, General, the committee therefore recommends to the House to adopt the report of the Public Accounts Committee 30th June 2022 on the report of the Auditor General on the statement of foreign exchange receipt and payment of Bank of Ghana for the full year, for the half year December ended 30th June 2022, and the statement of foreign exchange receipt and payment
Thank you very much.
of Bank of Ghana for the full year ended 31st December 2022. Mr. Speaker, respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much. The ranking.
I write to second the motion
Honorable
number
Yekum.
19 and 20 of the report of the Auditor General on the. I write to second the motion numbered 19 and 20 of the report of the Auditor General on the 30th June accounts of the receipts and payments of foreign exchange. The same for the year Bank of Ghana for the year ended 30th June 2022. Thank you, and Speaker. The same for the year.
Well, honorable
ended
members, the
31st
motion
December
has been moved and has been
2022.
presented.
Thank you for
I mean motion 19 and 20. Well, honorable members, the report. The motion has been moved and has been presented. I mean motion 19 and 20. Yes, honorable. The report before the House. Yes, honorable.
Richard Champon.
Honorable Champon.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. So soon, Richard Champon. You forgot.
Honorable Champon. I was
Mr.
looking
Speaker,
for the
thank you
first
very
name.
much.
Richard.
So soon, thank you very much. Forgotten about my name.
I was looking for the first name. Richard.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to contribute to the motion on the floor, but I want to do a much on 6.8. Progress payment to page 9. Mr. Speaker, if you on the paragraph 6.8 carefully progress payment to contractors. What is stated here? Mr. Speaker, if you let me limit myself to the following. Carefully read what is stated here. Let me limit myself to for the year and the review. A statement of 11 million. Among the payments for the year and the review, a statement of 11 million $949,088 Power China International Group Limited to MS Power China International Group Limited as final payment for the construction of the Polygu project. Final. Which document did they present? Mr. Speaker, the operative word is final payment. This payment. So if you have the governor of Bank of Ghana who effect payment, final payment of a project of which no work has been done, the question is, what influence this decision report allow us to contribute? Because the governor is the head of the institution. And we're saying that he satisfied himself before approving all those payments. And we are here saying final payment. Meanwhile, nothing else was done, Mr. Speaker. And we are laughing over this matter. It's not initial payment. It's not mobilization. This is final payment. And if you go to site, nothing has been done, Mr. Speaker. And we are here giving haircuts. We are here demanding people the investment. And we're saying there's no liquidity in the system. But we can don't add $11 million to a contractor who had for no work done, Mr. Speaker. And we are laughing over this matter. We are not just going to recover the money. They must be arrested. Some people must be arrested, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much for the question. Serve as a deterrent to others.
Thank you very much.
So, Chairman of the committee, I remember there was a time it caused arrest of an official.
Honorable member for who?
This time, the governor,
Much,
his deputies, and all officials who had a hand in this payment must be arrested.
And comment
We are not just going to recover the money. They must be arrested.
Item 6.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Speaker, before I comment on that, I would like to commend the committee.
Honorable member for Who West.
For the work done. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I also rise to add my voice to the motion before the House and comment on page 9, item 6.7 and item 6.8. Mr. Speaker, before I comment on that, I would like to commend the committee who adopted the Public Accounts Committee for the work done, but also to state that in their conclusion, the recommendation there simply says that we should adopt this report. Mr. Speaker, yes, indeed, we adopt the report, things that are not would be. And so, Mr. Speaker, I want sanctions on the that we needed to be better to people or who are doing whatever things that they are not supposed to do. And so, Mr. Speaker, I want to prevail on the committee not only to recommend that we should adopt this report, because adopting this report simply means that we've agreed to whatever that he has put on this paper. But quite frankly, Mr. Speaker, adopting this report that yes, indeed, there was some wrongdoing at the various ministries, departments, and agencies, it's neither here nor there. There must be a concrete decision by the committee, either to ask for sanctions or either to ask for the retrieval of money that was paid to the various people. Mr. Speaker, having said that, the item 6.7, I read there that there was an invisible payment. I don't understand what is meant by there's a reduction of let me just read, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, say that there was remittance to the Ghana missions abroad for compensations and goods and services for the period under review. An amount of 94,534,928.11 USD was remitted to missions in 2022, compared with 111,747,076.8 reported in 2021. That means that there was a reduction. But, Mr. Speaker, my worry is that for that period, which represents about 8.2 of the total invisible payment. What is that invisible payment? Does it mean that there were payments that were not clearly indicated? Or we need to understand what the invisible payment. Otherwise, then it means that somebody has invisibly sent some money somewhere. Otherwise, that they are saying that there is a reduction in that invisible payment. Mr. Speaker, I want to also state that the item 6.8 is an indictment not only to the Bank of Ghana, but also the agencies that, Mr. Speaker, awarded the contract and also issue payment certificates. The Speaker, you and I know in our profession that when it's a final payment, it's not per ultimate payment. Final certificate means that it is final. It means even retentions has been released. Final certificate means that is what it means. And that a total amount of over 100 and something million, 117 million USD has been paid as final payment. And we are here, we don't even have money to pay our staff in Parliament. And we are 117 million, Mr. Speaker. Somebody must be called to book. Somebody must account.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, you have the floor. Oh. Yes, Mr. Speaker, you have the floor. Oh.
I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, listening to my colleagues, Mr. Speaker, it makes me think that there's something that we're in election period. We are talking about law and order in this country. We are talking about personal responsibility when it comes to criminal law. We are talking about holding people who have erred or deliberately misled the country or caused financial loss to the country to be personally responsible. What is the basis for saying arrest A or arrest B? Personally responsible. The report does not say that any investigation has been made to identify who personally did what. We should stop playing to the gallery. It will come back to haunt us. The language on the street is different. In this chamber, who gave Mr. Speaker the power to order the arrest of anybody? The worst he can do, or the best he can do, is to refer the matter to the police to investigate, and if anybody is culpable, that is not an arrest. To investigate, and if they find that Honorable Collins Dada has done something wrong, then the Honorable Collins Dada will be arrested. If they find that Honorable Bejira had threatened to beat somebody in the chamber, then Honorable Bejira will be arrested. But we should stop using the language on the street. What we should be seen to be doing is saying that the laws that we ourselves made, every law in the country is made by Parliament. And the law is very clear on what the Speaker can do, what an investigation agency like the Auditor General can do, and what next must be done. We members of Parliament should not be seen to be the ones making statements that undermines the laws we ourselves have made. If the report says that somebody has made payments, and you must find out who recommended what. What did he look at? So how do you order the arrest of this agency or that agency or that? You should be careful. You should be mindful. Very soon, the people will pick those same languages and attack you for crossing the street and say that you have caused an accident and you should be arrested. Mr. Speaker, the report is saying that somebody has been paid for work not done. Certainly, it must have been the recommendation of an engineer, a work supervisor, or somebody who prepared the certificates. And those are the people we must investigate and confirm who in the agency did what. How do you bring in the governor? So if I steal, Mr. Speaker must be arrested. Because the Speaker is the head of Parliament. So if I steal, must he be arrested? So you must investigate and confirm that. So hey, stop this, your cadre things. You are a cadre. You are an engineer, you know who prepares what. You know who certifies for you to be paid. And if a certification is made by an engineer who is assigned to do that, should the person who pays be held responsible? Is that the law of this country? Is that a rule? What we must do is to ensure that if indeed what has been reported is what has happened, the person who did what is held accountable, and we should stop playing to the gallery. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, let me go to Honorable John Jinapo. Honorable Bejula, this is not a battle between you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, as ranking for the Mines and Energy Committee and as part of our oversight responsibility, I personally led a team to the Pwalugu site. Mr. Speaker, when we went there, the evidence on the ground showed that there were 2 trips of sand and 48 blocks on site. We counted it. Mr. Speaker, 48 blocks, 2 trips of sand. At that time, an amount of $11.9 million had been paid. And Mr. Speaker, when we raised the issues, the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority came and confirmed that indeed that amount had been paid, but that it was not final payment. Mr. Speaker, even more worrying is that when the facility or the agreement was being approved here, we were told that government was not going to pay any money. I recall, it's about $1 billion project. It's a multi-purpose dam, which is supposed to even help us deal with the annual flooding from the Bagri Dam. In this chamber, we were told that government was not going to pay any money. Power China has packed and left this country. They've received the money and they've left. So even if you want to hold a contractor responsible, they are no more in Ghana. But Mr. Speaker, let me agree with the First Deputy Speaker. First Deputy Speaker, this matter will be investigated. Let me confirm to you, it will be investigated. Fortunately, His Excellency President-elect, incoming President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has already set up an oral committee chaired by the Venerable Okujeto Ablakwa. And so the way is paved. Mr. Speaker, as for the investigation, it will happen. And whoever is held or found culpable would answer for this question. Our investigation shows that the amount is far in excess of the 11.9 million. A lot of money was paid earlier for preparatory works. This was just an additional payment. And so, Mr. Speaker, that is even why this House ought to take some of this matter serious. We raised the red flags here when this matter came. And the records will show that most of the issues the minority raised issues with, eventually they turn out to be scandalous. But Mr. Speaker, let me thank the Honorable Aveji and his team for bringing this up. They've done a very good job. They've made some recommendations. But I know that in the next administration, all those responsible for this unfortunate loss of money to the state will be held liable and they'll be held culpable. On that note, Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes. Honorable Comfordo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to add my voice to the report of the Public Account Committee. Mr. Speaker, this is heartbreaking. In fact, either report or committee, these people, we should line them up for Ghanaians to see them and know them and shame them. Because why are we doing this to ourselves? Why? Does it mean they are living in a different Ghana and we are living in another Ghana?
Honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, this is heartbreaking.
Just be guided with
This is
what the
heartbreaking.
First Deputy Speaker
How can we
said.
pay $11 million for work no down? Please, Mr. Speaker, we are doing too harm to ourselves as Ghanaians.
Just be guided.
What we should do. I now understand how the Ghanaians voted this time. This time it shouldn't be a stronghold. It should be your performance. It shouldn't be anybody's stronghold. It should be your performance. If you are not performing well, and the whole Ghana will turn green, they should turn green. Mr. Speaker, in fact, we are not happy to hear this. And Ghanaians should not grab hand for this. Everybody should be everybody should stand up for this and make sure we prosecute them. How can we pay $11 million for work no down and just go to the site and see 45 blocks and one trip of sand? Mr. Speaker, it's not the best. We are not happy. We are not happy at all.
Yes, I'll give you the last.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I actually rise to support the work of the Public Account Committee in the sense that there are some positives that are being disregarded. I think overall, the practices in the country are changing because of the oversight responsibility of the committee. And I can almost say that in terms of workers who take leave without appropriate documentation, some of these cultures are changing. And
ready for school?
Yes!
My champs, they use a lot of energy at
some of the quantums that are lost on people who may have paid, people who may have vacated this country and left the shores and so got paid and failed to come back. So I think that I'll use this opportunity, and I'm talking not necessarily for the MPs, I'm talking necessarily for all the MPs here, including Doyo and all the others, that we need to use the opportunity to let people know that many of us were not signatures to this quantum that are lost to the country. Many of us sitting here, in fact, almost 90% of us here were not signatory to the monies that appear to have been lost to the nation. On that note, Mr. Speaker, Merry Christmas in advance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable members. At the conclusion of the debate of motion 19 and 20 in today's order paper, the question is, all those in favor that motion 19 and 20 be adopted, say aye. All those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion 20 are hereby adopted. Yes. Honorable Reggie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Which motion?
Mr. Speaker, we are taking motion number 22.
22.
So I rise to move that this Honorable House adopt the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General on the Public Accounts of Ghana for technical universities for the year ended 31st December 2022. So, Speaker, I present your committee's report. I'll read just a portion, but the answer to capture the entire report as having been read. Mr. Speaker, the findings of the Auditor General in his reports relate to outstanding debtors to loan recoveries, cash irregularities, payroll irregularities, procurement, tax, and contract irregularities. The overall impact of the irregularities amounted to 20.9 million Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, compare this amount with 2020, it's a reduction of about 39.9%. So in 2021, the total irregularity amounted to 34.8 million, but this has dropped to 20.9 million in 2022. So, Speaker, the committee have looked at the implementation status of the recommendations of the Auditor General. So, out of a total of $20.9 million recovery, 20.9 million Ghana cedis, not dollars, sorry. 13 million Ghana cedis have been resolved, leaving an amount of 7.8 million Ghana cedis unresolved. So the resolved percentage amount to 62.5%. So, Speaker, the details of our work have been captured in the entire report, where some...
Honorable Member, hold on. It appears I don't have that report. Do members have that report?
Mr. Speaker, members should have the report, because the report are at the back here and here, which they're sharing.
Mr. Speaker, we don't have the report. What we have is pre-university educational institutions. And that is not motion number 22.
We have that one also. But
yes, but what we have here, we don't have.
What he's doing now is technical
universities. We don't have it. Members don't have it unless somebody else has it.
But
Mr. Speaker,
but Chairman,
I don't have it. I don't have it as a ranking member.
I don't even have it.
Mr. Speaker, I think that those people who are responsible for the distribution have failed to serve you. So if we can make copies available, or Mr. Speaker, let me finish presenting, I'll pass my copy to you.
Well, but okay, Honorable, you just go on.
Very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm just reading the conclusion of the report. Conclusion. The committee recommends that management of the technical universities cited by the Auditor General should implement all the recommendations of the committees in the committee's reports and submit status report to the committee through the Auditor General within 6 months after the adoption of this report. The committee was of the considered view that the observations and recommendations of the Auditor General fairly represented the financial transactions that took place in the technical universities in the 2022 financial year. The committee therefore recommends to the House to adopt its report and on the report of the Auditor General on the public accounts of Ghana for technical universities for the year ended 31st December 2022 in accordance with Order 215 of the Standing Orders of the House. Mr. Speaker, respectfully submitted.
Very well. Honorable Yakum, Fantakwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even though I don't have a copy of the report, I'm privy to it. So I rise to end the motion of the accounts of the Auditor General on the public accounts of Ghana Technical University for the year ended 31st December 2022. I so move. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honorable members, the motion has been moved and has been seconded. It is before the House for consideration. Yes. Honorable member for Elmina, Commander.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. That is Commander Edina Iguafu Abrem. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The problem is those people who have committed these irregularities sometimes are protected by the same politicians who are now lamenting. A minister comes with an agency, and the minister wants to protect that appointee. Some of them are political appointees, some may not be. But we, the politicians, we need to stop protecting these people when they come to Public Accounts Committee. I would advise anybody who becomes a minister, when these technical people come, stay on the side and let them answer the questions. Don't try to protect anybody. Then we lament on it. Now my appeal to the Attorney General. There are so many recommendations sent to the Attorney General for prosecution. He hasn't done it. I don't know what the Attorney General is waiting for. Now, if we don't prosecute these people, when are they going to stop? This blame game has to stop. Politicians, stop protecting those who have committed these crimes. Look, what goes around comes around. Paying for stuff for no work done. Mr. Speaker, we need to look at ourselves in the mirror. There's nobody to blame but ourselves. Let's hold these people accountable. Let's hold them accountable. And rather stop calling ourselves names. If you don't do your work well as a minister, don't come and protect these people. As for the Attorney General, the least said about him, the better. But I hope and pray that with this new administration coming, we'll do a better job prosecuting those people who have committed these crimes. I think we need to serve notice to those people who are committing all these crimes. There's a new sheriff in town. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, let me give the opportunity to Honorable Techi Manson Kunta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. It is very important for members of this House to consider the professionality of auditing and the aspect of investigation. If you look at the reports, you will see at some session, for example, the tertiary report, you have the purpose of audit. With your permit, Mr. Speaker, I may read it so that it should guide that as to how we comment on some of these issues. The audit was undertaken in accordance with Article 187 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, which mandates the Auditor General to audit the accounts of all public offices and report to Parliament. The purpose of the audit was to enable the auditor to express an opinion on the level of compliance of the operations and activities of the technical university as expressed in their financial statement for the year ended, so forth. Mr. Speaker, auditing is about expressing opinion by looking at internal controls of the institution, by looking at the regulation governing the body, by looking at the laws and other things that ensure that the institution is operating within law and within the limits of its controls. Any irregularity means that some laws or regulations were not complied with. It may not involve necessarily the movement of funds. It may be just because some omissions were made in terms of the law. Therefore, the report will capture it and the auditor may express his opinion. On that basis, you may be very careful to conclude that there is a fraud or there is a criminal act. When there is that opinion expressed, it should be the auditor general who may state that for this gross misconduct, it may call for investigation. So auditing is separate from investigation. When the auditor has established that in prima facie case, there is a connotation of fraud, then it calls for investigation. It is upon investigation that will establish either fraud has been committed or crime has been committed. So on this basis, the auditor general report that we are looking at should not construe that crime or fraud has been committed, but rather expression of opinion. If the House believes that there is anything like fraud or criminal act committed somewhere, we should investigate the matter to establish that one. So I may want to express my opinion in the House and the public that the work of the Auditor General and its recommendation are expression of opinion. It doesn't conclude on criminality or fraud unless it's called for that act of investigation to establish the fraud and the criminal act so that we can pursue from there. On that, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Let us go about this and ensure that professionalism is being upheld in this House and elsewhere. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, why is it that no, Honorable Virginia, I haven't called.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to just permit me a minute. I think that when we make such comments, we are in a way encouraging the public and civil servants to continue to misbehave. In fact, if you read the report, we have realized or we captured in the report that the issues that have been resolved, if it is resolved at the committee level, that ends the matter. There are unresolved portions which must be dealt with. So, as we said, nobody is taking the Auditor General report as a final conclusion. It comes to Parliament, the committee called the officers involved, then find out from them action they have taken. If the issue is resolved, we end it there. If the issue is not resolved, we bring it here with a recommendation. That is what we are doing here. So the point he is raising cannot be accommodated at this time because the resolved one, we are not talking about that one. The unresolved one are the ones that are outstanding. And in fact, we have made several recommendations for the Attorney General to prosecute the people, and that if the people go and clear themselves at the court, that ends it. So nobody is taking cane to just go and lash anybody based on the report of Dr.
Bamboy.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful for this opportunity to contribute to this report. But before I continue, let me add my voice to the correction that has been made by the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. I think that my colleague on the other side didn't get things right. The mandate of the Public Accounts Committee is clearly stated. Ours is to look at the reports and make appropriate recommendations in the reports to be submitted to this House for us to debate and then agree on the way forward. I think what I want to say is that we have many reports that have made recommendations, and in some cases we expect that some prosecution will be done. And as I speak to you, nothing is being done about that. And that for me is the concern that this House should find a way of ensuring that recommendations that we make here don't just go to rest on the shelves, but rather we are able to push them through so that people who are found wanting will be prosecuted to ensure that the irregularities that we see on annual basis are reduced. Mr. Speaker, making reference to the particular report that we are discussing, with specific reference to Koforidua Technical University, it is not only the university that is found fault for this particular problem. Many universities have lands, and these lands are not, so you have a situation where individuals encroach on these lands, and then the university land is taken over by individuals. Government wants to expand the university, and there's no land for them to build infrastructure on. And so I want to suggest that universities and other government institutions that have land, it should be a policy to ensure that all these lands are registered and that they have land titles. If not, what is going on is scary. It's not only limited to only this university, but many, many other government institutions that do not have certificate to cover their lands, those lands are being encroached upon. And I think that is one of the issues that comes up regularly in our discussion. The other issue that I want to talk about is the fact that some institutions fail to register their vehicles. A very common exercise where you're supposed to register your vehicles in accordance with government policy, and you have some institutions, in my own opinion, deliberately ignoring this policy in order that they are able to use the vehicles for their private activities. We all know that government vehicles are registered with some specific colors, green colors, numbers. Now, if you don't register it with the numbers and you take it for funerals and other things and weekends, how are we going to determine that this vehicle is a government vehicle? And so policymakers and governments, we should ensure that all government vehicles are registered appropriately. If not, we will continue to see an abuse of the use of government assets. Now, another very important issue that came up is abandoned projects. This cuts across. Get funds, when we met with them, we were told that those projects, some even dated 2017. And that for me was not an excuse. If you have a project that you inherited from a previous government, the onus is on you to ensure that that project is completed before you continue with another project. But you leave those ones and then you go ahead to come up with new projects. Even those ones, you are not able to complete them. And once you delay it, the repercussion is that there will be an added cost. And it becomes difficult for government to now get this added cost to be able to complete the project. The usage of the project becomes a problem and all of that. And so the good news is that the president-elect in his manifesto has promised that abandoned projects will be completed. And that for me is something that we should applaud him for and ensure that these promises that he has made, we all collaborate and help him to do it. There shouldn't be a situation where we are asking for details or information on projects that have been abandoned and it will be difficult to get those information. I think that those are issues that we should look at, and the president-elect is in the mood to ensure that projects that are abandoned are completed. And if he is to do that, I know Ghanaians will be happy with him. They know his worth and they know that he's capable of walking his talk. On this note, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Yes. Honorable Member for Dominic-Kwabena.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I wish to comment on the statement and on the report that is ably laid by the chairman relating to technical universities. Mr. Speaker, respectfully, I want to refer you to page 6 of the report. Item II, and it reads assets without ownership of documents. And I want to take that together with another item that was identified as an irregularity and by the Auditor General that was considered by the Public Accounts Committee, which is on page 22 of the report. Page 22 of the report, and the heading is University Lands with no title certificates. Mr. Speaker, I want to state that this is a very serious issue that we ought to look at as a country. If we need to establish or create legal departments in these universities to take care of that, it is very important. You would be amazed that many of our schools at all levels are sited on properties or lands that has no proper documentation. And I must state on authority again and state on record that this keeps reoccurring in the Auditor General's report as an irregularity, dating from years back, since at least I entered Parliament in 2013. So what are we doing? In these universities, in these schools, are we leaving the registration of these?
Say goodbye to Slack because chat's here and it's inside ClickUp. Everything you need in chat is here.
We don't have title, we don't take the pay. They give it out willingly. So I think that as a country, moving forward, the civil servants that are working in these institutions